Recording live from the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio. This is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon, and we're coming to you live from the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County. I have with me two special guests today, really cool guests. Longtime fans of Business RadioX in general, and I finally got him up here to the Northeast studio. Very happy to have with me today Mr. Derek Hayes, but he brought his dear wife, Leta Brooks Hayes, with him. Folks, welcome to the Northeast studio.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
You
I was waiting
talk.
for it. No, that's
You can both talk.
I was enthralled by the introduction.
We
I
have
know
this,
you. I was hanging on every word.
We
Like, what's
have
about
this
to
producer
happen?
guy who he's learning the buttons.
You know,
That's what the problem is.
Derek and I are both seasoned podcasters. We both have our own
Yes,
show,
yes.
and there's an applause button. And so when you said that,
Oh.
I was like, oh, where is it?
This producer,
Yeah, he's asleep.
He's never going to give me applause.
That's okay.
No,
There we go.
it's not for me. I promise. Settle down over there, boy.
That's what we were anticipating. Now we can actually
Okay,
talk.
now we can talk. Now we're here.
Welcome,
Hi.
folks. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing
We're
well.
great.
Good to be here.
It's nice to have fellow podcasters in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were joking earlier about people get behind the microphone and they freeze.
Right?
I'm betting you're not going to do that.
No, in fact,
You're
I
going
think
to do it to mess with me.
you may reach over and unplug the microphone at one point.
Well, I got another show in an hour, so we can't go too slow, right?
We can talk on their show too. That's good.
I think you should.
Okay.
I'm not
Depends
sure
on
the
the
guy even
topic.
knows who I am, so you could just sit in and just say you're Tom.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He'll buy it. I don't.
There was one time that I was on the Gwinnett Business RadioX show. I've told this story before, and producer Mike called and said, hey, this company, they need a guest. Can you do it? And I said, absolutely. And I flew in hot. I mean, they had microphones hot. They had their earphones on. And I sat in the chair and I looked at them. I said, what are we talking about? And they all started laughing. They're like, you don't even know why you're here? And I said, no, but
Just here.
let's go. Like, what do you want to talk about? I can do this on air. I'm
know
a
this-
seasoned pro.
It was
good.
astrophysics, and so she got up and left.
No,
I would have. Oh,
was
I
I would have too.
would have made stuff up though. It would have been entertaining.
It
I
was
promise.
it was business. It was business, which I know a lot about. So
That's good.
I was
That's
in
good.
yes.
We're going to talk about all the fun stuff you do in a second.
Okay.
Derek, sir, you are an attorney.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been an attorney for a little over 25 years now.
Ooh, a couple days.
Yes, that's all the gray hairs here. You can't see it on radio, but trust me, there's a lot of gray
Folks,
hair.
he's only 32 years old.
Yeah.
And,
And a few anniversaries. A lot of anniversaries. But
what kind of attorney?
I've been doing personal injury work for the 25 years I've been practicing. Personal injury encompasses anything from car wrecks to slip and fall claims, dog bites. I do some medical malpractice is, believe it or not, a very, very prominent thing here in Georgia and virtually everywhere. Medical malpractice, unfortunately, is one of the things that you don't want to deal with, but it's something that we have to.
Unfortunate necessity, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Yes, when bad things can happen, and bad things do happen.
Right. But don't you sign your life away before you get any surgery done? No? Yes?
There are
Let's not go
waivers,
down that
there are
road.
things, but there are also two exceptions to every rule. As
Good.
an
Well, that's
attorney,
true. No, that's true.
One of the first things you learn in law school is every rule is only there to be interpreted however you want to interpret it.
That's true, too. So 25 years, man.
Yeah. And doing what I do for a living in personal injury, you find the necessity of having an attorney going into a car wreck claim. We'll go with car wrecks because we are in Georgia and people don't know how to drive here. And as I say, insurance companies will never get religion, so it's a very prominent area of the law and will continue to be for a long time. But here in Georgia, you're more likely to get 3.5 to 4 times more money when you hire an attorney in a personal injury settlement than someone that doesn't have an attorney. Part of that's driven by the fact that insurance companies are not required to take you by the hand, walk you through the process, and explain to you what your rights are, what you're entitled to receive, and how to calculate your damages. So having an attorney is there to make sure insurance companies do what they're supposed to do. We look at hidden coverages, things like umbrella policies, uninsured, underinsured motorist, medical payment coverage, and maximize the recovery from all those aspects to, as I said, put 3.5 to 4 times more money in pocket, even after attorney's fees when you hire an attorney after a car wreck claim.
You talk about more money goes into what your client in that case is pocket. And it's not that you're getting, quote unquote, more money out of it. Insurance companies, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not talking about anyone, but insurance companies goal, or at least their business is not to pay claim.
Correct. To pay
Is that a good way to put that?
I always say they pay as little as they have to, but as much
Exactly.
as they need to.
Exactly.
And that's the intent. So my job is to go beyond that, to get the maximum compensation, the full value of your claim. So having tried countless cases here in Georgia, and knock on wood, never lost one, and I hope to never lose one.
Congratulations on that.
But with that being said, I know exactly how those measures of damages play in front of a jury. So the value of your claim without an attorney can be basically whatever an adjuster wants to tell you it is.
Right.
But with an attorney, we can look to full value and real world experience and know what the true compensation should be and make that insurance company, instead of paying as little as they have to, pay more than they wanted to.
Right.
And again, full value is the goal. That's the intent.
You're holding them accountable.
Sure, absolutely.
You're not really finding more money. You're just holding them accountable.
Correct. And now there are times we find more money. And I'll give you a good example of that. So if someone who's involved in a regular car wreck, here in Georgia, the minimum coverage you're required to carry is $25,000 per person.
Which is scary.
$50,000 per occurrence. Correct. So if you cause a wreck, you run a bus load of 100 people off a cliff and you only had $25.50 in coverage, the most the insurance company is going to pay for that entire wreck of 100 dead people is $50,000.
Right.
That's awful. We push constantly as plaintiffs attorneys to try and increase that to at least 5,100 or maybe 100, 300. And hopefully at some point our state legislature will see it and move forward with it. But going back to what I was saying, though, hidden coverage. So if someone only has a 2550 policy, but they're a licensed professional that's a part owner in an accounting firm and a law firm or a doctor, they may have an umbrella policy. That umbrella policy may very well stay hidden if you go after it on your own without an attorney.
Right.
With an attorney, we know the exact letters that need to be sent, the code section that need to be cited to force that insurance company to divulge any and all coverage. So that's that hidden coverage that may be $1 million umbrella policy where if you only listen to the adjuster and you only accepted, oh, that's our 25,000 limits. We wish you could do more, but unfortunately your husband or your wife or your child has been killed. That's all we got. We're sorry. Awful situation. We feel bad, but here's 25 grand. Right. In the meantime, there's $1 million policy sitting out there they've not told you about because they don't have to, because you didn't know exactly what to do to push that issue.
Well, you don't know what you're doing.
Correct. Exactly. And even your uninsured, underinsured motorist, you may have more available coverage through your own personal policy that unless you know how to pursue it and what needs to be done, you're leaving that coverage on the table. Medical payment coverage, that's coverage through your own policy that's designed to pay your medical bills. That's a way to utilize that and then not have to take that settlement fund, whatever it may be, to pay those medical bills if they've already been paid. So even health insurance, there are things that we can do as an attorney to push all those coverages to maximize the recovery and ultimately maximize dollars in pocket.
When does someone need to have an attorney? When there's injury? And that's a very open-ended question.
Yes, it is. And it's a great question, though.
But now I know in a former life business owner, I had attorneys on retainer all the time.
Yes. And so if you're in a car wreck, the first thing you should do, obviously, is if you're injured, seek medical attention, an ambulance, hospital, whatever. But once you do have a chance to breathe, is kind of the way we say it, and you settle back and you're now just the shock, the fear, the anxiety, the emotions are done, reach out to an attorney as soon as you can. And the reason why is because the insurance company is going to try and get to you quicker than you have the chance to get that attorney.
Especially if you're in a haze.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll look for things like a recorded statement. A recorded statement is the first opportunity for an adjuster to ask you questions about your wreck. There are things that you have to tell them. There are also things you don't know yet. I'm not a doctor, at least not a medical doctor, and many people that are injured in car wrecks are not doctors, so they can't diagnose their own injuries. They have no clue that what may feel like a sore back or a sore neck right now may manifest itself in a herniation that leads to surgery a week or 2 weeks or a month later. So if an adjuster reaches out to you in a recorded statement, they ask about your injuries, and you say, well, my neck hurts, or my back's a little sore. In reality, it may be much more than that, and you're not diagnosing yourself because you can't. You've not had treatment yet. You've not had x-rays or CT scans, MRIs. You're not sure the extent and severity of that injury. They also may ask you questions about how the wreck occurred. And you mentioned a haze. There are times when the fog of war, the fog of the situation, you have no clue what's just happened. Yeah. And you were going through a green light, minding your own business, and somebody ran a red light and T-boned you. And the adjuster asked you the question, well, what happened? I'm not really sure. I blacked out. All I know is I woke up in the hospital. Yeah. And they use that to then interpret the claim as if it was your fault somehow, some way. You accelerated through a flashing yellow light that was about to turn red, and our person went through a green light. And the situation is far different than what really did happen. So that's one of the first reasons why you reach out to an attorney early, is to avoid the trap that you can fall into by letting the adjuster speak to you. As an attorney, I'm a filter. I know what they need to know. I know what they don't need to know.
Right.
And I'll make sure that if there is a recorded statement, which typically I won't grant, but if there is a reason and a need to give that recorded statement, I'm there to make sure it's all on point, that everything that needs to be covered is and nothing more. Another thing that they'll do is a medical authorization form. It's an opportunity for an adjuster to get you to sign a HIPAA form, which allows them to get not only your medical records and bills related to this specific wreck, but anything in the past. They can go 10, 15, 20 years back. And if you 3 years ago woke up and you just happened to have a primary care physician appointment that day and you walked in, the doctor said, well, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm good. I've been fine. But man, this morning I woke up, my neck was sore.
Yeah.
Because you slept funny. You didn't injure yourself. And the doctor writes in the records, patient complained of sore neck. But it was nothing more than sleeping in an awkward position.
It wasn't from a car wreck.
Right. But
Yeah.
the insurance company will jump all over that and say, well, actually, we've gotten your prior medical records. And 2 years ago, you had a neck issue that your doctors diagnosed you with. And so this is all pre-existing. We may have aggravated a pre-existing problem. We didn't cause any injury, though.
It's all your fault.
Right.
Wow.
Another reason to
Yeah.
reach out to an attorney is evidence can disappear. My job, my objective is to get out there early enough to take photos, if necessary, of the scene, of the cars. Right. Injuries can sometimes go away, bruises, abrasions, things that are visible injuries now, 3 months from now, or eventually, if you go into litigation, which may take 2 years, 2 years from now, you're going to walk into a courtroom without a crutch or without a walker or without being in a wheelchair. But it may have been that for the first year or first 2 years prior to the trial, you were very labored in trying to walk or struggle with any kind of mobility issues, and a jury can't see that. But with photographs and sometimes even video, a day in the life video, a jury can see and appreciate exactly what that injury did to you in that moment.
Important stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There again, I can go for hours, and I know it's a very
Well, we just got to get you on here again and again and get the Derek Hayes show.
I'm good with that. Well, I actually do have a podcast. I'm going to go ahead and plug that right now.
Please,
it's called Injury
as you need to.
Injury Insider with Derek Hayes. So if you go to Business Radio X or any of the platforms for podcast, you can find it. Again, Injury Insider with Derek Hayes. It's on my website too. My website is Derek Hayes, DEREK, the letter M as in Matthew, and then Hayes, HAYS.com. So DerekMHayes.com. You can go there. You'll see a podcast tab. If you click that tab, you'll see all the headings and topics that I've covered. So if you've had a dog bite or a slip and fall, or you want to know about jury selection, there's a podcast on that. Opening statement, closing arguments. So those are good tools that if you have questions, you can go and listen and learn a lot.
Now, you are serving Northeast Georgia.
Yes, actually all over Georgia, but Northeast Georgia. My office is located in downtown Lawrenceville, which is in Gwinnett County.
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally a block from the courthouse, but I can and will handle cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. I've also handled cases outside the state of Georgia that have come to me, many of them through the podcast. An attorney can handle a case in any other state unless it goes into litigation. If you have to file suit, you have to associate counsel in that state for them to actually file. But I've also, too, joined those attorneys in those cases.
Awesome. Give the website again.
It's Derek M. Hayes, and Hayes again is Hays, not HAYES.com. There's also Derek Hayes Law. You can find me. That's another access to the same website. Again, Derek Hayes Law.
Awesome. Nice job, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Good job. Leta, you've been very quiet over there.
Well, how do you get a word in with
nodding
Mr. Hayes
approvingly,
here?
though.
Yeah.
So he did a good job, didn't he?
Well, I don't get to talk at home, so I have
Is
to
that
take
what it is?
Yes.
I got you back, man.
Thank you.
Don't worry. I'm married too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Leta,
He
how
talks
are
a lot at home. Let's just clarify. Okay, Derek's a talker.
you? My wife won't watch TV with me.
No,
It's
we watch
horrible.
very different things. I don't
Well, no,
really
it's not
watch a
because of
lot
that.
TV
She's just,
ever, but-
I'm very difficult to watch TV with
Oh.
because I have opinions.
Oh, okay.
And when there's some, I hate to say the word hack, but someone on TV getting paid all kinds of money and they're horrible, you talk about nails on a chalkboard. I'm just difficult.
Well, I have a funny story. So a really popular show, it just hit Netflix, so it sort of resurfaced. It's that show Suits. It's the legal shows. Everybody watch that.
I remember that show.
I cannot watch that with Derek. Everybody said, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. So we put it on. We were about 10 minutes into the first episode, and he kept, that's not right. That's not how it happened. And it just, he cannot keep his mouth quiet.
I
so
understand
much
completely.
so, he walked away. I mean, this isn't even a series he can handle because it's so far-fetched from anything truly legal. It really bothers him. And I was getting into it. I was watching the storyline and the romance budding from two of the characters. And anyway, it just, he had to leave the room.
Well, when two attorneys are sitting in a room and they say, we need to get him in for a deposition this afternoon, like that's ever going to happen in the real world.
Good
Never.
luck. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unless they're in the other room.
Yeah, and it's been scheduled for 3 months.
Yeah, really. Yeah, pretty much. Young lady, why are you here today? I hesitate to say, hey, what is it you do? You do 1,000,001 things.
I do a lot. It's a long spiel.
Oh, I've stalked you. I've researched you. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
But what are we talking about today?
Today, what we're going to talk about is not the overall big picture of what I do. So
it is a big picture.
It's a big picture. Yes, we're going to talk about kidney donor athletes. And
how in the world did you get into this?
Well, I'm a kid.
This is not something everyone does.
No, this is not. And that's
I'm building you up here.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
building you up
All right.
here.
I'm in
Work
it.
with me.
And I'm ready to just spew it out.
And I can't wait.
So in 2017, I did a kidney transplant with the recipient being my father. He needed a kidney, and I was a perfect match.
So you gave your dad
I did.
one of your kidneys.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations for both of you.
Yes, and we are in now 2023, and he is still alive.
When was that? Forgive me, I was talking.
2017.
It's been 6-7 years. Awesome.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That is good, right?
It's very good.
No, seriously.
Without the donation, he probably would have lived for another, at the very most, 3 to 5 years?
Well, the stat is 5 years on dialysis. The average lifespan, I've been told this is how they write life insurance policies in the United States, but for the American white male, the average lifespan is 77. So we were 72. I am not 72, but my
you
dad.
look really, really darn good. Your husband's right here. I can say that. For 72, you're amazing.
No. My father was 72 at the time of surgery. It was a 5-year window. It was the possibility of being 77 as a white male in America and 5 years on dialysis. Now, it's not usually dialysis itself that takes someone's life. It's the complications from dialysis.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's the
what
whole
the body
medical
goes through in the process to save it.
Filtering and not pulling enough or pulling too much. Or yes,
my father suffered from some of that, yes.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's a long time ago. Don't worry about it.
It is not a pleasant way to live. And so being a donor, being a match for him, it was a successful surgery. That was 7 years ago. He's still kicking. I was with him yesterday. Kidney's healthy, so we're doing well. Before the kidney donation, I don't want to toot my own horn on my athleticism.
If you don't do it, I'm going to do it.
Just do it.
That's kind of why I brought you in.
Yeah,
well, just saying.
I used to be an avid runner, and I started running.
It's more than just avid.
I used to love it.
Marathon?
Past marathons. I was an ultra marathoner.
She is human, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At times.
I would run 50Ks. I trained. Yes. I was with a running group. We would do fun track workout.
It was your life.
It was.
Totally your life.
But it was my hobby life, right? I was still a mom.
Well, sure,
I still worked and I trained. And
had you lost that, though, it would have been devastating. That's why I say it's your life.
Yeah, but I lost it sort of. I toned it down after the kidney donation.
You had to.
I haven't lost it, which is what we're getting ready to talk about. But I had done 3 50Ks, training 6 months on, 6 months off, all trail runs. So much so went all the way up to New York to run a race, one in Chattanooga and one in the mountains of Georgia. Believe it or not, the Georgia one was the hardest of all 3 out of the 2 different elevations. And it was fun. And we trained hard, and we would run full marathons just in training and then go out and run these 33 to 38 mile races. Because when you're on trails, the distance is ish. It's 38-ish, 35-ish.
Right.
But it was wonderful. And it also made me a candidate to be a really good donor. I was in tip-top physical shape going into an organ donation surgery. Right. So I recovered really well. My body healed really well.
Your body was super efficient.
Very efficient. Yeah. Yes. I had really strong arms, and this is something that where I've coached potential donors when they're getting ready to go into their surgery and they want to talk to another donor, and I'll say strengthen your arms and legs as much as you can, because in a hospital bed you tend to slide down, and in the middle of the night when you've just had major abdominal surgery, you can use your arms and just pull yourself up as hard as you can from a hospital bed and not touch your abdomen. Even sitting in a chair, you normally use your abs and you sit down and you use your core and you stand back up. You don't have use of your core without a lot of pain. If you can use your quads and your hamstrings to sit and stand, if you have strong muscles, it's tremendous. Anyway, that's the trivia for the day. So anyone
that's
considering
not trivia if you need it.
Organ donation, that's a great tip. So I was in really, really good physical shape going into the surgery. And the surgery happened. Again, it was a success. I recovered well. And I got back into running, of course, because like you said, it's my life and it's what I do. 2 summers ago, we're in 2023. So in 2021, I ran a trail 25K. So I cut the distance in half.
Only 25K.
Only 25K.
That's what I said.
What a bum, Derek.
I
tell
watched
ya.
it. I was tired from watching it.
I'm tired talking about it. So, yeah.
I did have a bad spill. Remember when we
Yes.
came off?
She was bloodied when she finished.
I couldn't even take
that's
my
the
own
best
shoes
kind.
off. I know. When
Yeah.
you get
But
all
scars
it's a
are
trail
cool.
run. So they're
dirty and you got
roots
road rash all over your
Yeah.
leg. I love it.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
anyway, it does.
Sorry,
That's your
off
battle
topic, sorry.
wounds. No, but that's all part of trail running. I had put it on social media. I had done a little story as I was waiting for my friend to pick me up the morning of the race. And I said, I'm not nervous about the distance. I'm nervous because this is my first long distance run on one kidney. I know that I can run a
Right.
25K and I know that I can handle the trails and I know that I've trained.
How much time had it been?
Well, I had raced, but I hadn't done anything that far.
You'd done a bunch of 5Ks.
Yeah,
Well,
probably a
that's-
10K.
I got to believe 5 is nothing compared to a 20 whatever you
It was
just
a
said.
15 plus miler.
Right.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
trails.
Only 15
But now
plus.
trail,
I had run a
trail
half
is a lot
marathon.
different than running down Peachtree.
Oh, absolutely.
Insanely so.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. I think it's way more fun. And yet I've brought a real, I want to say, strict road runner out on a training run, and he fell apart. He
I believe
twisted
that.
his ankle
I
in the
believe that.
first hill. I mean, he just thought he was awful. He was a complete mess on the trails. And he was in a running club that I was in,
I
but
so
he had
believe
never
that.
really done trails. I like the agility of it. I like the complexity of it. I like jumping over roots and logs and the ups and downs and watching for spider webs. I enjoy the technical aspect of a trail. I get really, really bored pavement running. And everyone will
I
say,
could see that.
you're a runner, but I'm a trail runner. And I'm a trail runner. I don't really enjoy road running, even though I enjoy running. So there is a big difference.
I'm with you on that.
Yep.
I totally agree.
So I do this 25K, put some hashtags out, which is how everybody finds you nowadays with your
Sure.
hashtags. Kidney donor, runner. So this organization, based on my hashtags, sent me a DM. And I had to tell Derek recently, DM means direct message. He did ask me. He goes,
I thought
"What?"
it was GM, but
He
apparently
goes,
it
how
was a
does,
different thing.
what is a DM? I'm like, okay, we'll get you there, Derek. And they said, we're kidney donor athletes. You're a kidney donor and you're an athlete. Would you write us a story about your experience doing the 25K? And I said, absolutely. So I connect with them on social media and I see that last year they have something called a one kidney climb. One kidney. And
One kidney
last
climb.
year on...
Wow.
There is a World Kidney Day in March, and they took, let's just say 20, I'm not sure of the number, but they took 20 kidney donors and summited Kilimanjaro last year on World Kidney Day and took a documentary crew with them. That is fantastic. That's an incredible feat. So moving forward to this year, there's an application process because they're going to take their one kidney climb, 20 kidney donors from across the United States, and they're going to go to Guatemala, and they're going to summit 3 volcanoes back to back to back. This is a fundraising mission. The point of this mission is to literally shout from the mountains, from the volcanoes, do not be afraid to donate. Over 100,000 people in the United States alone are waiting on a kidney. Most all of you, except for me, you have 2, and you only need 1 to live, and you only need 1 to live healthy. Athletes make the best donors. Do not be afraid to donate. Look at all these athletes. Look at all these people. Even if you're not a true athlete, you live a healthy lifestyle that would make you potentially a really good donor. And so it's a mission-based nonprofit. And again, the mission is to raise awareness and say, everybody has 2, and you only need 1. 100,000 people could use the blessing that you have to give.
Yes,
I threw my name in the hat. I filled out the application for Guatemala. It took a few months. There's a panel and a board of directors. I got selected.
Congratulations.
I'm going to Guatemala. We are in October.
You're running, what, is that over 3 days?
Yes.
3 summits, more or less?
Yes. Yes.
That's 5 days total that you're there, but
No,
they're
8 days
3
total.
8 days total. Okay.
Yes, 8
Wow.
days total, 4 days in the center of solid hiking. So there's an up and a down and an up and a
That's
down.
right. You got to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of
There's
that.
not a
Yeah.
slide at the top.
So
that
you're-
would be
you're-
great.
You're
Yeah.
basically, zip line back.
Zip line or
Yep.
one of those mountain coasters. Those are really cool.
So
That'd
you're
be
kind of
nice.
running 6 volcanoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Ugh.
because you got to go up, down. And then the last, which will be the most challenging, is we go up, and that's a day up, and then we're going to camp on the side of a dormant volcano. We leave that camp, and we head about 3 o'clock in the morning with our headlamps on to summit, which is called Fuego. And we're going to summit Fuego at sunrise, and we'll spend a little time up there, and then it's a full day down.
Which that is an active volcano.
Right. We're getting to the top.
Lovely.
So it's going to be
Hopefully
quite
it's on
an
pause
adventure.
that day. Seriously.
I know. Yeah. So there's, I believe, 19 of us going, one kidney. So 19 kidney donors from across the United States are going. And there's one gentleman attending the climb with 2 kidneys, and he is a documentary filmmaker. So we have a documentary crew, guy, cameraman, going with us on this adventure.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
yes.
Now, are there websites related to this?
Absolutely. Yes.
I knew you'd say yes.
So the fundraising, which we are in, if you want to learn more about this, all of my social media handles, my platform, I guess I should talk about that at the top of this. So I am a podcaster, I'm a blogger. By trade, I'm an interior designer, so I do show a lot of fun, pretty remodeling and design projects on there. But my everything is called Status Life with Leta, Leta. That is my podcast. I'm in season 4. I'm on the Business RadioX platform. We've podcasted with one of the board of directors. You can learn a lot more about this and dig into my kidney donation story if you want to go listen to that show. So that would be my Instagram handle. That would be my Facebook. It's all Status Life with Leta. That is the website. All the kidney stuff is up. If you want to look at kidney donor athletes, let's just think you're a good donor. This is not part of the kidney registry, but this is if you're interested in that organization and the mission, you want to connect with some kidney donors, you are a kidney donor athlete, kidneydonorathletes.org,
Cool.
I believe. I think I should double check that as you
What does
do
it
the
come
next
down
question.
to, basically? Blood type?
No, there are 5 markers.
Oh, okay. There's a lot more than one. I
There's
gotcha.
5 markers that I had to match with my father.
But even though she's his daughter, it's not a guarantee that as his daughter she would be a good match. So some people, we've met a spouse that donated to his wife, a husband donated to the wife,
wow.
which
How
is
about that?
really unusual that they were able to match up that well.
Yeah, that is more unusual. I did say that when I said .org, I thought, I don't think that's right. It is kidneydonorathlete.com, just to clarify.
.com.
Yep.
Well, getting back to those 5 markers, though, that I think that shouts that it's not real easy to find a match.
It's not. And
It
there's
whittles it down quick.
There's a lot of different ways that you can donate, and this is also really interesting. You can do something which is called non-directed. So let's say, for example, that Derek needed a kidney. I had 2, so let's pretend I'm not a donor yet, and I've got
Right,
2 kidneys.
right.
I want to donate a kidney to help Derek, but I'm not a match for Derek. I could agree to donate, and they put me in the system, and it's a whole train. So I could donate to you. You could have a loved one that donated to producer Mike. Producer Mike had a donor that wasn't a match for him, but it was for Derek. So we could all do a non-directed. So someone got a kidney from me and they do it all on the same day. A non-directed.
Oh,
they
wow.
will line up all these surgeries.
I guess it'd be best to do that.
Yeah. And so it basically says,
about
I'm
that?
willing to donate. I just can't donate to him. So we have another husband and wife. We've met so many people that have gone through this journey once you're in it. And another husband and wife from Nashville. And she donated, but again, wasn't a match. They did the non-directed. So she was already out of surgery in recovery before his had even started. Because
And he needed the kidney.
And he needed it. So, but they had so many people on their chain that day. He was able to visit with her in her recovery as her kidney was gone in his pre-op.
How about that?
We've actually had somebody on the podcast in the past who went to take her child to a karate class and saw the flyer up on a billboard or a poster in the karate studio, and it had the little numbers hanging off, and my mom needs a kidney. It was written by a kid. Can you please help? And so she felt compelled and pulled the phone number and went and got tested, and turned out the markers matched up.
Yeah.
So she donated to someone she had never met before.
Right.
And it's a lifelong connection now, clearly.
Oh, absolutely.
But they're anonymous donations. There are all kinds of ways that can be done.
So that's what the registry is for.
Oh, yeah. And they take care of all that. Kidney Donor Athletes does not control the registry, but they absolutely make awareness to get people to get on the registry.
They
The more
support it.
people on the registry. There's not, with 100,000 people waiting, I don't know the stat, but I do know that there's not 100,000 cadavers that are readily
organ donors.
available.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I did learn this too recently. Depending on where you're at in the United States, your registry in your state may be longer than in other states. We met a gentleman on vacation, and he was celebrating his 1-year kidney donation anniversary of that. He was the recipient. He needed one. He had been very sick, and he had some living donors, but was adamant he did not want to take a living donor. He wanted to wait on a cadaver, and I have heard that is very common.
Really?
A lot of families, my dad specifically, originally did not want me to donate. And it wasn't until after the surgery that his doctor had said, as a 70, when the process started, he was 70. By the time we got to donation, he was 72. So around 71, when I was willing, his doctor said, take the kidney. You are 71 years old. If a match comes, that match is going to the 40-year-old husband with a 2 and a 4-year-old at home. It's not going to the 71-year-old man. It would have to be, all the stars would have to align.
Right.
These kidneys have to go to the younger people. You've only got X amount of years anyways.
Right.
He's potentially got 35 to 40. You've got 5. Take your daughter's kidney. I did not know that. But again, he was going to wait for that cadaver. Well, this gentleman was in...
They were in New York and New Jersey.
I thought they were in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah, you're right.
Somewhere in Washington, D.C. And their list was years longer. They, through their transplant hospital, it was going to be, I believe, about 8 years to be on the list to wait for a cadaver kidney. And that's a long time to wait on dialysis like we talked about. So he moved to Tampa, Florida, where the list was a lot shorter and ended up waiting less than 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and that's lifespan. Yeah.
Smart move.
Anyway, all fun facts about kidney donation.
You're going to be walking up and down Volcanoes for a week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So
Soon.
on a side note,
Giant smile on her face.
I know, right? I
Well,
just light up.
she's going to be gone for a week, so I'm not a kidney donor, therefore I can't do the climb. But I thought, oh, you know what? I'll go with you. I'll stay in Guatemala. And so we started researching about this, and it said that there will be staying in Antigua. And I thought, okay, I'll take one for the team.
Yeah, really.
I'll find an all-inclusive Antigua. I'll be
Do you
good.
need someone to carry your bags,
You know,
Derek?
I'll let you know.
I'm probably available.
So
Just
I
saying.
looked at it and thought, hey, that's great. Honey. You go climb those volcanoes. I believe in you. You do that. And I'll be there when you come back down. And I'm thinking, okay, all-inclusive, the beach, just a phenomenal vacation.
Yeah.
But then I realized Antigua is actually a city inside Guatemala.
Yes.
That's landlocked. It's not the Antigua, the island that we
That's in
thought
the
it was.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Hundreds of
mind
miles
went
away.
my mind went to the Caribbean.
Yeah,
too.
that's where mine went immediately. I thought, well,
Well,
you know
hey,
what?
you
I'm
can still
not-
go to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You might be single when you get back.
Exactly.
I would probably be single if I went
Now the
with
plan
you.
is I'm taking her to the airport and I'll pick her back up at the airport.
Yes.
So.
That's it.
Gotcha. Before we get out of here, give you a last word. Give you a last word.
Go ahead, Leta, you're first.
Okay. Kidney donor athletes, it's just been a fantastic mission. This is near and dear to my heart. Obviously, as a kidney donor, I am on this wonderful adventure, but spreading the mission. I didn't do this to not have this big follow-up, right? I mean, that's just part of Status Life with Leta. That's part of who I am. I love to be able to share my stories, my adventures. I just live this big life, and I do that by choice. And I podcast, and I'm here today on Tom's podcast as a guest. And I just appreciate the opportunity to not only tell my kidney transplant story, but to support an amazing nonprofit that's truly giving me the adventure of a lifetime. And I hope that if I spread the mission and I'm able to talk or share or get one person to get on the transplant registry, that's one person's life that I'm going to save. Maybe it's more than one. Maybe it's 100. Maybe there's 500 people out there that are going to hear this and say, you know what? I can do it too. I have 2 kidneys and I only need one, and it's not going to be terrible. I can recover just like she did. So that's it.
I hear you.
Well, thanks again for allowing us to be on the podcast.
I've
First
enjoyed
and
it,
foremost,
man.
we appreciate that. That's always great to get on a podcast.
You two are nowhere nothing like the producer said you'd be.
Oh,
I've actually enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun
On a
doing
side
this.
note, he's nothing we thought he was going to be either. We thought we got a professional guy, and we wound up with him.
We do think alike, Derek. I always wanted to be an attorney growing up, honestly.
Really?
No, dead serious.
I did
Dead
not
serious.
think I was going to be an attorney. That was never my game plan, but that's how life led me. And
I
that's
lost
where
a
am.
bet early in life, had to do something different. So
Really?
and now here I am, but that's all right.
Maybe I lost a bet and wound up having to
And
do
being
this.
an attorney, there
we
you
go.
go.
But I will say this, if you do need an attorney, and as I said, I specialize in personal injury. That includes medical malpractice, car wreck, slip and fall, dog bite, any situation where you've been injured by the negligence of someone else, feel free to call me. My main number is 404-777-HURT. You can also check me out on my website, Derek Hayes Law. You can check out my social media platforms. Leta, by the way, is my marketing director / social media person. So she deals with all that for the firm, does a phenomenal job. She makes me look good. And videos that she shoots of me actually come out better than I expected, but that's her talent, not mine. But please, if you do need an attorney, reach out, contact me. Also, go to my podcast, Injury Insider with Derek Hayes. You can learn a lot more there as well.
Nice job. Nice job. Well, I thank both of you for coming in. They're going to play my music any second. You never know when it's going to sneak up on me. Seriously, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Folks, hey, do me a favor. Check out Northeast Georgia Business Radio X, negabrx.com. It's got our catalog of shows. I'm Tom Sheldon. We'll talk to you soon.